Fighting against injustice across Connecticut, Melissa in the Morning checks in with the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities on WICC 600.
And this morning we are checking in with Kim Jacobson. Good morning, Kim. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Good morning, Melissa. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I love this topic. I think it's a good one, being a young woman myself. Pregnancy discrimination. What laws are on the books right now to make sure that doesn't happen in the workplace here in Connecticut?
So Connecticut actually has very progressive pregnancy discrimination laws. Employers with 3 or more employees are covered, and there's no discrimination based on pregnancy, childbirth, or related conditions like breastfeeding or lactation. So this means it's illegal to refuse to hire a pregnant worker or fire them because of pregnancy. Unfortunately, there's lots of pregnancy discrimination still going on despite good laws. I would ask your listeners to think back of how many times they have been served by a pregnant waitress, and the answer is probably very few, because there's often a belief in the industry that customers are uncomfortable being served by a pregnant waitress. But having a family shouldn't cost you your job. And this is occurring in lots of industries, especially industries that require manual labor, such as office cleaning. Women are often told that they are a potential liability. Unfortunately, this more often affects lower wage earners who are often dismissed right after they announce their pregnancy. They're told not to come back after you have a baby. Some companies say we can't cover you while you're gone. Or some say once you announce your pregnancy, you need to take unpaid leave until after the birth of your child. Many people have heard of FMLA, which provides for time off while someone is recovering from the birth of their child. But one issue with that law is you have to have them working a certain amount of time before you can get that protection. But the nice thing is that the discrimination laws also cover you and require that an employer give leave for pregnancy leave.
So really quick, Kim, because there are a couple things that you touched on in there that I wanted to kind of harp on.
Sure.
Some of the things that you had said, like in labor jobs, like a waitress, like you had brought up. Are the claims that these employers are making, are these just straight up lies? Are these things that are like meant to intimidate women in the workplace? Do they have a ground to stand on when they say it? Like, is it just that women don't realize that, hey, like that's actually not true? I can certainly work up until the day I basically give birth. I have no problem walking around and doing my job. Like, why does that still happen, I guess? Why is there still discrimination if it's basically a law to protect women from that?
I think there's several reasons. One is that most people don't complain. Another reason is people might not understand what their rights are. And I think a lot of employers, especially smaller employers like restaurants, don't understand what the law says about pregnancy discrimination. So I think it's a combination of those things. Another issue that will come up often that I think maybe employers are concerned about is that pregnant workers have a right to ask for accommodations. So one common accommodation might be if you're a cashier and normally they make you stand, that you can ask for a stool to sit while you do your job. But employers sometimes are scared that this is going to cost them money. It's going to cost them money to give them leave. It's going to cost them money to provide some kind of accommodation. But the law is what the law is. And I think, if we don't have families, then this society doesn't continue. So it's a little bit ironic that people don't want to accommodate people for having families, but most people or everyone is the product of somebody giving birth.
Right, right. It's alarming. Kim Jacobson is here with the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities. This conversation to me is so alarming, especially because one of the standout examples that I actually felt like, wow, we're moving in a great direction is Stamford Mayor Caroline Simmons. I felt like here's a woman who is the first female mayor of Stamford. She went up against Bobby Valentine, who is is a big deal, and was pregnant while she was running and, has been fully pregnant. Her kid's under the podium while she's doing these big addresses during COVID or whatever's going on in the city. She's been so, to me, it was like her pregnancy didn't matter at all. I mean, voters voted her in, and it hasn't really been brought up in the media, and it's just been almost like normal. Like, yep, women have kids. That's what happens. And so it's shocking to me that this is still such a problem. Like you said, Connecticut's progressive, but you look at examples like Caroline Simmons and you think like, wow, we must be doing really, really well. But then when you think maybe behind the curtain where there's not so much publicity like a waitress, it's sad to know that the very opposite is being done. Like that's very saddening to hear that.
I mean, it's very common in discrimination issues. I remember when Judy Rowe was the governor, everyone said, well, now we don't need to worry about gender discrimination. Or when Barack Obama was elected president, oh, now we don't have to worry about racism. But what we see is, yes, it's really great that one person could rise and, do what they want to do, but that doesn't cover everybody. And it doesn't cover most people. And often it covers more privileged people who have money and education and means to get childcare and help with their kids and help with their pregnancy. I mean, I don't know a lot about the mayor, but I'm suspecting that she had someone to help her and that it wasn't that she was, watching kids full time and also running for mayor and doing her duties. I think that's a big difference. And the other thing I did want to mention is, even though we're talking about taking time off for pregnancy, there's no requirement that a pregnant worker take time off. And I think that's a misconception that you have to force a pregnant worker to take time off. And there's also not a requirement to disclose your pregnancy to your employer unless you need something for them, like an accommodation or time off. But asking a pregnant worker, how much time are you going to take off? When are you coming back to work? That actually could be discriminatory in itself.
Interesting. Wow. Well, I mean, I think this is such an interesting topic and something that if people want to dive into it a little bit more, what is the number for the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities if maybe somebody is feeling discriminated against or they are expecting? Is there a way they could contact your offices?
Yes, there is a way to contact our office. We have a toll-free number, 1-800-477-5737, or if they want to call locally, 860-541-3400, or if they have a TDT, they can call 860-541-3400.
Kim Jacobson, we so appreciate you coming on and sharing this information with us. We appreciate it.